You're listening to the Detroit is Different podcast network.
Welcome back to the Piper Carter podcast. It's me, Piper Carter, your host. And yes, another exciting episode with our co-hosts. What's up, Brittany? How are you?
What up, Dope Pipe? What up, Deja? What up, Jairus?
Peace.
Peace, everyone.
Yeah, so guess what? We're going to get right into it today. We have an amazing special guest. I went to high school with this woman. I danced with this woman. We were a part of a couple of amazing pieces of history. We were in the same youth program, the arts program. I always talk about Festival of the Arts. She studied music with some of the greats of our time. She is a mother. She is a drummer, a percussionist. She's been in so many bands. It's incredible. She's played with some amazing world-renowned artists. She is an herbalist and a farmer and one of my great friends. And I just want to bring into the space Aisha Ellis. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be here, y'all.
Yeah.
Quite a few times, and it's like now I'm in the hot seat, so that's really exciting. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So we want to get all into what you're doing these days, because we know you're working on music. You're in the studio cooking up something amazing for us, and we want to hear about your story. But before we do that, we wanted to get into just a few topics, if you will. And so I think our first topic, let's start with you, Jaira, with our tech report.
All right. So, as everyone knows, I love to talk about Tesla and Elon Musk. So over the course of these months, so far in the year, there's been so many people getting involved with these Tesla accidents with autopilot. So a lot of people are being more getting more comfortable with the autopilot. They're dropping their hands and going to sleep and just, forgetting that the car is still in testing phase as far as for the autopilot. It's not fully automated, but people are like relying their lives on it, and they're, just carefree when they turn on the autopilot. There was like an accident in Lansing, Michigan, over on the highway. Someone was just not paying attention with the autopilot on and ended up under a semi truck. And it didn't end well, just because there's been over like 2 fatal crashes with the Tesla. So it's just sad to hear that so many people are dying from it. And if they don't die, they just are really badly injured because they aren't listening to the safety requirements when it engages on the screen for the autopilot. They just ignore all the warnings and just go to sleep, or just don't pay attention in general. I want everyone to let me know what their feedback is on the crashes, if you know about it or if you don't.
Okay, I'll go first. First of all, thank you for this tech report. Secondly, no, I did not know about that. Thirdly, I'm never gonna speak ill of the dead, so rest in peace to all the people who have died. But next, I want to just get into this part right here. I told you so. Didn't I tell you about the auto driving does not sound like a good idea. Like they haven't done all this proper testing, and yeah, now they're just basically testing out people as guinea pigs. The next thing I wanted to say is so with the you know autopilot thing, right? Now I haven't seen any of the simulations, so I don't know what it looks like or it feels like or the design or the experience. I have an imagination because I do watch Black Mirror on Netflix, and and I've seen some sci-fi films. And to me, when I've ever seen like an autopilot type of thing, the people can go to sleep and they're not driving the car. The thing is like automatically driving the car. So that's where I have questions, is like, if it's autopilot, is the thing not intelligent, or like do they still need the person to actually like be the intelligence and drive the car? That's where I'm confused, is like the experience. But I don't know if you want to respond to that first, or if other people wanted to go and then you respond to everybody at the same time. What do you think, Jaira? Do you want people to keep going and then you respond at the end, or did you want to just like respond to that directly?
Well, I think that it seems like it would be intelligence based, but I think that there's just a natural risk that's taken when you drive an autopilot car and you put it on autopilot, and it's a smart car at that. Like, I think that's just a natural risk. But again, I'm not trying to speak ill of the dead either, but I think that's just, a part of that, a part of it.
I don't know. What do you think, Aisha?
I think that people have to understand that you can't rely on something just because it's kind of trendy right now. You can't rely on that because it's obviously not been tested long enough to give to show that it's safe to do those things. You have to be present in your life. And that's what I would think, that you really have to be present in your life, especially something as important as driving and getting from one place to the other. So it's unfortunate that they had to learn that with their lives. And I hope other people understand, okay, maybe I better not do that. I'll get the car, but I won't use this option. And personally, I don't think that the option should be available, because that is getting into like experimentation. Like, I think the world needs to stop. Well, the people who are able to maneuver in the world because of having large amounts of financial resources, you shouldn't be allowed to maneuver in certain ways that are detrimental to others. Like, I don't think that option should be even available because it's not proven to be effective yet. So, and with technology being what it is, it's gotten us to be more complacent. Every year, every 6 months, every 3 months, we grow more and more complacent. There was a time when, we didn't have all of this. You knew people's telephone numbers, and that's one thing we don't do anymore. We don't know those telephone numbers because we've gotten complacent and rely on technology to an alarming degree.
Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts, Brittany? Because you're in that millennial. You're our token millennial. What do you say? You there, Brittany? Oh.
Yeah, I'm here. I'd say that the way the world is moving into tech, that these situations are inevitable. We're gonna keep hearing about things like this probably for the next 10, 15 years until there's normacy to it. I think that these are one of the themes of us forcing ourselves towards tech. I think with Tesla, I think I don't know. I think with the car, I think it's unfortunate that things, happen and the safety mechanisms aren't protecting people. But in just being realistic, I just think that, again, this is the age that we're in when we talk about tech and things of that nature.
Yeah, and I wonder, Jaira, what are your thoughts as you're listening to everyone?
Well, I mean, everyone has their own, perspective on the cars. I mean, I would personally still drive them. I still want to own one, but like you said, like you said before, I don't think they should be out for the public to use right now because people are very experimental. So any new thing that's going to be out there, a lot of people are going to be like, let me test that out. Let's push it to its limit to see how far it can go. And they do it with their lives. And unfortunately, some people took the test too far and think that it's okay to just get a blanket and go to sleep, or get in the back seat and just go to sleep as if, the car is driving itself. But it has its faults in it as far as in the software. That's why there are frequent updates on it. So I just feel like some people should take it more seriously as far as not going over and beyond with it, and not relying on it as like a mode of transportation.
Yeah. And wow, I see that Deja's still trying to connect, and I wanted to go to her with her topic, but since she's trying to connect right now, I'm going to start with my topic. But thank you for that, Jaira. That was a pretty good topic. We know you can always count on Jaira to support Elon Musk. We know that's your guy. No, but yeah, so I wanted to talk about the 8 folks that were murdered in the spa in Atlanta. Okay, so before I go to that, I see that Deja's back. Let's do Deja's topic. Deja, let's do your topic first. You there, Deja? You there, Deja? If you are talking, you're on mute. No, you're on mute. Your mic is muted. Let me see if I can unmute you. Oh, she had to go off. Okay, so we'll do my topic then. So I want to say rest in power to the 8 people that were murdered in Atlanta at the spa. I think anyone that's been listening to the news, we kind of know the details, but just in case folks don't know the details, I'll just give you like the rundown, and I'm getting this from the New York Times. So they charged the suspect at the spa. I know that he went to court on Friday. 6 of the 8 victims were women of Asian descent. A survivor of the shooting called his wife and let her know what was going on. The suspect's parents identified him in the surveillance footage during the manhunt. There's experts are saying there's a rise in hate crimes motivated by male supremacy. It says Asian Americans were targeted in nearly 3,800 hate incidents in the past year. And there was an officer who was talking reckless, and so they pretty much told him, stop talking. And yeah, I wanted to just, this is like ongoing, and I'm in a lot of like different social justice circles, but I just wanted to uplift this because they were basically saying that they have questions as to whether it's a hate crime or not. And I'm going to say that I think we could say that it is a hate crime. We do know that, you know, there is what's the word I want to use? A fetish or of a over sexualization of Asian women. And the person who did the shooting did claim that he had some sort of sex addiction. And, you know, this murder is, I would classify it as like femicide, which is like, you know, people who murder women because they're women, right? And then blame the woman, right, for being, you know, sexually attractive or being the problem. And you know, the buyer, he had admitted that he was a confirmed buyer of, you know, prostituted women, and he frequented, right, he often frequented two of those spa venues or massage venues. And I've been told by people who do work in social justice around, you know, protecting women, that the correct term is prostituted people, because sex workers includes pimps, sex traffickers, brothel owners, this kind of thing. And so whenever we, you know, say we want to, you know, protect sex workers, it's like actually saying that you want to protect, you know, these profiteers and slave masters too, right? And so they're saying that it's best to clearly identify the term prostituted people. But anyway, so, you know, long story short, we know about the rise in sex trafficking that's happened. We know this with Black girls and boys and people forever. We know this exists with, you know, Latinx people or Latino people, you know, the over sexualization of people of color, of Black people, of Black women, of Black men, of, you know, Latino and Latina people, right? And Asian people as well. And we know that there's no value placed on people's lives if they're considered, you know, an immigrant or a person of color. And so there's literally, you know, these murders, in my opinion, are not really being taken as seriously as I believe they should be. But I feel like I've kind of presented, you know, a little bit, but I wanted to know if folks had a chance to know about this story, or you know, had seen the conversation around people, or I should say the police saying that they weren't sure, quote unquote, if this was a hate crime or not. And I wanted to get y'all's feedback on that. So anybody could start.
I agree that they aren't being taken seriously, and I don't really know why. I mean, I understand that they want to see, you know, a race war and just people at war, so that we're not focused on what they're doing to us and what they're doing behind the scenes. But I don't know. I know that they're not being taken seriously, and that there is a disadvantage in crime or justice. I'm sorry.
I don't know if is anyone else aware of this story, or
No.
yeah.
Oh,
I am. I read about it and saw some video footage on it, and I have some feelings about it. You know, because if it's classified as femicide, isn't that still hatred? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like because this country has allowed so much terrorism and treachery and murderous behavior towards Black people. And don't get me wrong, everybody has felt it, but we have definitely disproportionately felt it and continue to do so, and never get the benefit of the doubt, get quick to get shot up by law enforcement, if you will. And so I feel like because that has been allowed for so long, and that those it's like they protect the monsters, you know what I'm saying? It's like, because that has been allowed to happen against indigenous people. I do consider myself indigenous as well to this planet. I feel like because that has been allowed, now everyone who is not considered white, they're going to feel it, because it's like what Martin Luther King Jr. said, an injustice. What is that phrase? An injustice here is like an injustice everywhere. Something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, but I feel like because this has been allowed, that has left the door open for other people to be terrorized and abused and just treated any kind of way. That door has been left open. You know what I'm saying? And so now it's going to be like a domino effect. And so I feel like, for lack of a better word, I feel like it's like going to make people going to know what it feels like to be less than, and always consider that. You know, it's so much, to me, a lot of perversion that has just been allowed to flourish and be prevalent on multiple levels. You know what I'm saying? You see it in between certain things. You see it through all of these things that we consume, all the medias that we consume. You see it through, you hear the abuse of lyrics. You just hear so much abuse towards women in general. And it's just left a door open for this to happen. And it's not going to, I don't think it's going to get better for a while. Like something really is going to have to tip that scale in order for people to really look at it and be like, look, we got to do something different. We got to get in touch with these morals. You know what I'm saying? It's enough room for everybody to have more than enough. But you have groups of people who feel like they got to have everything. And it's more than enough for everybody to have more than what they need. So you got some serious mental cases, making laws, passing laws, doing all kinds of stuff. So it's very unfortunate. And I saw the video where the elderly Asian mama, it looked like she had cut the Joker smile in that man's face for attacking her. You know, they carting him off, but nobody's really tending to her. You know, this woman is clearly traumatized and hurting, you know. And it's really sad. It is a sad sight to see, but I don't think it's going to get any better for a while. Some serious moves have to be made. I think it's going to call for some serious unifying.
Yeah, I like that idea that you ended there with, the unifying. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, we gotta come together. And I saw a lot of people posting, just a lot of support, and that, I feel so bad. My heart goes out to those families, but I do appreciate the people that are, coming together, because that's what I agree. We've got to come together and show support and solidarity, because it is a beast.
It is a beast.
It's a beast. Ooh, Jaira, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I kind of forgot what I was gonna say now. I was after listening. But no, I just want to say that it is kind of sad hearing everything that happened. This is my first time hearing about it, but it is sad and just crazy, the things that go on in this world.
Yeah. So, I mean, everyone has to be, prayerful and alert. And I'm looking at it like when they stormed the Capitol, that to me was like, okay, we could do anything, I mean, we've already seen everything. Like, let's just keep it a buck. Like throughout history, throughout time. But I guess I'm just thinking in terms of like 2021. When I saw they stormed the Capitol, I was like, oh, okay. They're to me, I looked at it like, okay, everybody's got to be on alert now, because they're showing off, that they could touch anybody. So I think we all, everyone has to be, just on alert. Yeah. But I don't know. But thanks for, chiming in on that topic. I know that Deja has a topic, and I want to see if her mic's working, if you want to talk about your topic.
Yeah, I was reading this article earlier today published by Journal Law Now, and it was about a North Carolina court that faced a 6-year-old for plucking a tulip in North Carolina. And it's just crazy to me because I didn't realize that the youngest age that you could be arrested there as a child was 6 years old, and you can go to juvenile court at the age of 6. Luckily, in this case, once it got in front of the judge and he realized what was going on, it was dismissed. But they're not considered charges when you're a delinquent. I'm sorry, not a delinquent, but when you're a minor, they're not considered charges. They're just considered complaints. So someone made a complaint on this kid that he plucked a flower, and he ended up, instead of being taken to his parent, he was taken to, I guess, a court. And when the mother couldn't come, the judge realized what was going on and it got dismissed. And this article is explaining how that's a common thing. Most of the time, kids end up in deeper shit in court because their parents aren't available to come, or like they can't get off work, or they don't agree with the charges because a lot of the times they are BS and foul. So I just wanted to talk about that. Luckily, there are people there fighting to raise the age up to 16 and 17 so that 16 and 17-year-olds aren't charged as adults either. But yeah, it was just crazy that this is still happening. And of course, it's disproportionate to Black people. This article also stated how men and boys are called most over women. And about half the percent of the time it's from Black children, or the complaints are on Black children. 40% of the time it's on white children, and then like 6 or 7% it's on a Mexican or Latino child. These statistics are just wild, and I don't know what else we can do about the children other than get them in programs. But how do we do that if the parents don't have time or money to get them to the programs or pick them up from the programs?
This is basically an extension of the slave trade. And
yeah, it's another pipeline thing.
Yeah, and it's also, the whole private prisons thing, which is what's wrong with the private prisons. And the thing is that, so here's a 6-year-old, right? And I don't know, somebody got the bright idea that, oh, let me take him to the police and the court because he's dangerous. He shouldn't be picking the flowers. Meanwhile, let's just understand, I'm going to keep it a buck, how terrible white children are. I just got to keep it a buck.
Yeah, and this kid couldn't even sit still in court. They had to give him a coloring book and told him to draw in it just to keep him, from, looking all over the place and being a distraction during the proceedings.
I mean, he's
You have to
6.
give him a coloring book. He's 6.
Yeah, it's a baby. I mean, a baby that actually no one belongs in court ever, any prison or none of that. But definitely like a little baby. He's 6 years old. He just was on a bottle or something, probably. Okay, just finished crawling. And now you want to put him in an institution when it's like clearly, like that right there is a perfect example of what's wrong with the system. And the fact that adults, like, to me, the fact that adults have that type of judgment, like they're the ones who actually need to be taken in, right? Because to me, that's abuse. Taking a baby like that to that situation, that's abusive.
It
But
is.
I'm like, wow. I'm gonna let our guest or anyone else chime in on that topic though.
I would definitely say that's some predatory behavior from the higher ups. Again, that is a pipeline. And it's going to take some serious unification to really change some things, like when do we ever get mad enough or fed up enough to stop these predatory behaviors? It's like all the ways to get rich, and you really got to traffic bodies. That's, to me, that's another form of trafficking. You just giving yourself a license to traffic people who are vulnerable and defenseless. Something's really wrong with people that do that. They have no business being in power or positions of power. It's very degenerate behavior on high, and it does trickle down into society. So yeah, we have to get mad enough to say this, we not doing this no more. This is a changing of the guard. It's more than enough for everybody to have what they need on this planet. You don't have to be a parasite on another person to have what you need and what you want. You don't have to be a parasite. That's parasitic behavior. It's like cancer. I look at it like cancer, like this colonization. It's like what cancer looked like from the universe, like walking cancer.
Yeah, I'm like, wow. I hope something happens to those adults to be made accountable. I mean, to me, that's abuse. It's psychological abuse, emotional abuse, and physical abuse. Honestly, like they should never.
Perversion.
It's a perversion. That's a perversion. That's a perversion. Shame on you, North Carolina.
There was an instance in this article as well where they spoke about a child in school. I can't find the age now all of a sudden, but where they spoke about an autistic child that threw a pencil at a teacher, and it resulted in him getting charged with felon or with a misdemeanor assault on like a court official or something, because he acted out in court. And it's just another pipeline issue.
Yeah, they don't understand autism.
No.
Oh my goodness. Shame on you, North Carolina. But we do have some comrades in North Carolina, and I have a comrade who just moved to North Carolina. And so I'm hoping that we'll be seeing some more changes in North Carolina. So and I want to send that little boy and his mother so much love and encouragement in this moment for everything that they've just endured, and some protection. That's too much. So thank you, Deja, for that. And I want to get into you, Aisha, and to our guest. But I know Brittany wanted us to, before we got into your interview, touch on astrology. And normally I do this astrology report but I always tell everyone that one of my favorite astrologers is Aisha Ellis. And I wanted to get from you, well, Jaira just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Jaira. You 21-year-old grown person, you.
Happy born day.
So I wanted to get from you, Aisha, anything that you wanted to share either about this week and what's going on with the planets. I know yesterday was the first day of spring. I know we're in the seat where we're ending this season of Pisces and about to move into Aries. But any of that, I want to know if we could get any of that, of your input on any of those.
Okay, so I'm still learning. I'm ever a student. I know, yes, yesterday was to me what I consider the new year. Happy New Year. Everything is time for renewal and rebirth and reawakening and blazing some new trails, which is a very characteristic of what Aries is. And so I don't have a lot of fire in my chart. I have a North Node in Sagittarius, which North Node is considered what you are growing into. And I have a couple of first house. I have a Mercury in the first house, which is the house of Aries. And my Mars is in the first house, which is in the house of Aries. And Mars is the ruler of Aries as well. So it's in a natural placement. So even though I don't have a lot of fire, I have a little bit of some initiative. Like I'll take the initiative to do certain things sometimes. And expression. So Mars just recently moved into the sign of Gemini, call them the gems. So Gemini is in my 10th house according to my natal chart, which is my coordinates from when I was born. Everybody has your location, your date, and your time. And that's how your natal chart is calculated. So in the 10th house, that's a good time. That's career. The 10th house is the house of Capricorn. Every sign has a house, starting first with Aries, according to the traditional system. I know we had some new planets supposedly to show up and it switched everything or whatever, but I'm still rocking with the traditional at the moment because that's what still feels right, I'll say. So as we move into the new year, you want to start envisioning what you want your life to look like. I'm big on affirmations. I'm big on writing things down in the present tense. And I have you all heard of that New Moon Astrology by Jan Spiller? It's a really good book that shows you how to do your 10 manifestations on the day of the new moon to propel yourself. And you always want to just put things in the present tense. I'll say something like, I'm happy, I'm so happy, thankful, and grateful now that, or because or, something now that I have in that frame of reference. And I also heard that it's also good to, after that, follow it up, with something like, I deserve to have this, or it feels really great having money, residual income from several different sources to give me money while I'm sleeping. Things like that, to just really speak positivity and victory over your life, because as we already have discussed, the ways of the world will bring you down. So you really have to be vigilant and speaking victory over yourself and over your works and the things that you want to do. And sometimes you got to move away from things that appear to be something that you want to ask for. Well, I want the highest version of this. I don't just want something. I want to have the highest version of that. And so one of my recent affirmations is I'm irresistible to my highest good. Because that feels really good for me. I want what's good for me. You know what I'm saying? Not just stuff I just want. I want it to be good for me, and I want to be good for it. I want to see more win-win situations. So going back to astrology, and to me, all that kind of stuff is all kind of related. And so you kind of want to time things that you're doing based on what's going on with the moon. Sometimes the moon might be void course, which means you just don't try to start anything new. Same with a retrograde, especially Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication, commerce, travel, short trips, computers. Like if Mercury is in retrograde, you don't want to embark on a new journey. You don't want to buy a new car, computer, phone, anything to deal with technology. That's kind of a no-no. You don't want to sign contracts because you might have to go back and review it or redo it or things like that. You don't want to put nothing on the dotted line. You want to wait till after, almost if you can wait like a week or two after. And that's not really a bad time. People look at it like a bad time. Yes, you really have to pay attention, but that's also a time of rejuvenation. That's also a time of relaxation. Reread it, reimagine it. Just put RE in front of everything and it'll be okay. Don't freak out. Ease into whatever cycle we're in, whatever the planets are doing, just ease into it. And I've just been saying everything is in divine order. So, because God got the ultimate. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Now, do y'all see why I love Aisha as my astrologer? Yeah, so I know that Brittany has a litany of questions, like a whole list of things that she want to talk to you about. I think let's get into your interview. I think what I want to do is just to give a little grounding, and then before Brittany does her deep dive. You have a project.
Yes.
You're working on. You have some new music that you are in the studio cooking. You have a presentation that you are doing in exactly a week online. And you have chosen to work with some great musicians to bring forth your vision. You have been manifesting this new vision. So before we get into everything, let's just start there. Tell us about this new music and this project and this process.
Ooh. Okay, so 2020 taught me to get on the good foot. I'll say that. It brought out it brought out the resourcefulness in me. I will say that. This project started because I heard a quote, if you will, because I've been procrastinating. I'm not going to even deny it. I have been going back and forth, like, is this the right time? And I'm nervous. Just all my whatever anxieties going through it up until this point, until I heard this quote, that procrastination is the arrogant assumption that you'll have the opportunity to do it again. And so I had already wrote down I'm going to write my music. I've already said that. Now the door opened for that to happen. And I remember writing down, like, I do need a team. I understand that I don't think I will be able to pull this off by myself. Not right now. I'm gonna need the training wheels on still a little bit. Yes, I admit. And so the village started gathering. Piper, you're always opening doors for me. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I will always be forever grateful for you and to you for always opening the door and keeping the door open for me and always pushing me into spaces. Piper, you've been propelling me for so long to just go for it, get in it, go ahead. You're in it, hit it. So I really am thankful for you for that. You know, you've been such a I don't know what's the right word. You've been very critical. You've been very, what's that word? I'm trying to find the right word. You have been very important, very, very important in my development and in my growth as an artist, and constantly putting me in those places and spaces to express myself. So again, thank you for that. And then with your partner's help, P Groove, he's like the master magician on the one and twos. When he goes to doing his work, he is a master at it for sure. You had mentioned that before, 10,000 hours of doing something, and it's in there. So working with you two as masters, because you're a master too, you've been at this game for a long time. The team started to assemble. The door is now open and the team is here, bam. And it's like, Aisha, yes. If they say yes, you saying yes. When Mike said, yeah, come on to the studio, I'm like, what? So the studio is submerged right there on East Grand Boulevard. And so just, again, the doors was open and it was real fast, faster than, well, it was unexpected, I'll say that. And everything just fell into place for it to happen. And so I have been working with Pope and James Shelton, I want to say since 2017. We were working on another project and we were getting ready for that, start getting that refined and all that, getting those processes done. And then the COVID came, and then everything, all the plans on the table, just, we all know what happened. So I said, well, I've been working with them the last 3 years. Let me reach out to these brothers and see if they got some availability and some creativity to lend to the project. And so they agreed to do it, and it worked out. I worked with also Deshaun, who is a multi-instrumentalist playing the sax and flute. John Dixon laid the first track's keys, but he's over there across the water. So, everything is different now with the traveling and clearance and so on and so forth. And that's when I said, well, let me grab James and see if he's available and can lend his talents to the project. And so again, everything just started falling into place for it to happen. And it was like, bam. And it was like, I had to say yes. I was presented with the opportunity to make it happen. And it was like, why would you say no? So I just proceeded, and everything just keeps falling into place. And I'm really excited. I'm really proud of myself for going forward and not saying I don't know, and trying to find an excuse to not excel. But my spirit just was ready. I want to say it was divine timing. Everything is in divine order. I wasn't ready back when, and I'm clearly ready now. And so I'm just looking forward to doing more and more and more. I'm looking forward to also becoming just a multi-instrumentalist as well. I'm starting to think bigger, no matter what's going on out here. I don't care what they say is going down. I still have to keep my eye on the prize of those endeavors I want to accomplish while I'm still here. I'm not a spring chicken, more like a midsummer, late summer chicken. But yeah, I just decided that, now is the time. It's no need to hold back anymore. I'm giving myself more permission to just go ahead and just be myself, do what I want to do in my craft, and continue loving to do it. And so I'm thankful and grateful for this opportunity and to be in this position, to be alive in this time and space.
Well, I'm grateful that you are my friend and
Oh,
you are making some great music and we're doing this project together. This is
you too.
wonderful. And I'm looking forward to your project coming out. I'm looking forward to people hearing your ideas, your vision, this great music that you have inside of you. And I'm looking forward to your presentation that is going to be on next Sunday. We're going to live stream it,
Yes.
your performance. And I do want to say, usually we have been together with We Found Hip Hop. We have done a monthly showcase with our all-woman band at the Charles
Yeah.
H. Wright. But
Yeah.
due to COVID, we did not have that, available to us. And so what we're doing is something different to us and
Mhm.
just really looking at, how do we dig in and dig into this vision and give people something really, powerful in this moment. And so yeah, I'm very excited for people to hear what you have been doing. So yippee doo dah. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Brittany because Brittany has a whole thing that she's prepared, and I just wanted you to talk about what you're doing now. But Brittany wants to go take you on a ride. So
I'm fine.
yeah, Brittany.
What's that, Piper?
I was saying you have some, you've prepared different questions that you wanted to ask Aisha. And
Well,
so, yeah.
I think it's super dope that the two of you guys like are still working with each other.
Yeah.
And you have such a dynamic history, right? I think with each other, but through sharing so many experiences with each other, you guys have a unique perspective of Detroit. So I'd like it if you take the time to either share a story of Northwestern High School that you guys can both remember and laugh and talk about genuinely, or talk about 5E, a story, a 5E story that we haven't heard a 5E story in a while. It'd be good to hear one from Aisha's perspective.
Oh, well, so for Northwestern, that's where the Festival of the Arts program was. And that was like my favorite job ever. Besides babysitting, because that was my first job, but working as a musician, being a working musician and putting on productions, like, was it every week or every 2 weeks at Hart Plaza? Like, that was, it was amazing for me. That was probably one of the first jobs that I was always going to be early to. Because I loved it so much. However, I did face challenges because I'm a drummer. And so a lot of the guys would be trying not to let me get on the drums. And it's like, no, B, I do this. The same way you do this, I do this. And so it had got to a point where I'm like, well, drumming ain't the only thing I do. Like, I can, skip on over to the dance part and go ahead and dance because I do that too. We're so multidimensional. Many people are multidimensional. And so I think that was, that's when I understood that I have to make sure I'm using all of those talents because people are a trip, but I still made sure that I got on them drums. I went back to the music. Like I don't know the routine. And, I ain't been here long enough to know the routine. She let me dance in the back, but I don't quite got the whole routine. They've been doing this way too long. And so I went back to the music department and that's when I made up my mind, like, I don't care what they say. Like, we're going to have to take it to whoever, whoever the authorities are over this, because I'm not stopping. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to quit. And that was my thing. Like, drums has always been my lifeline. I had made up my mind that no matter what happened, I was going to stick to playing drums because that's what makes that's one of the things that makes me most happy. Being an artist, expression, playing music, song, and dance are important to me. So, and definitely that was one of my experiences at Northwestern. And one of my teachers, you know, he wouldn't even let me in the band yet because when I went to Northwestern, I told him I wanted to play the drums, and he was like, "Do you have a drum set at home?" And I was like, "No, but I did play in middle school." He was like, "Well, come back when you get a drum set, because you got to play the drum set in this class." And when I tell you, I asked for drums every day. I would get other stuff like earrings or something. I'm like, I don't want them. I need the drums. I need them. And so being at Northwestern taught me that you gotta fight for what you want, and you stick to your guns. And I stuck with it, you know, even more so than just being famous or whatever. That's my therapy. Like I had to understand that drums is my therapy. It's not just, oh, I play the drums and I want to be famous. I want to do these great songs. That's cool. However, I understood that that's my therapy. Like I might go to jail or something if I can't play the drums. Just kidding. Yeah, so that's some of my experiences at Northwestern and being a Festival of the Arts.
Well, Aisha, to talk about who your teachers were, because they weren't no slouches.
Oh man, my teachers were musically Dr. Ernie Rogers, Dr. Teddy Harris, Kim Weston.
Yeah, but these millennials and Gen Z, they don't know who any of them are.
Okay, so Dr. Ernie Rogers and Dr. Teddy Harris, they were part of a jazz group as well. They were like performing teachers. So they were part of the Jazz Masters. The Jazz Masters went throughout the world and traveled. They brought a lot of the Detroit sound. And as a matter of fact, the Detroit sound and jazz became quite known throughout the world. The way we do it, you know, in Michigan. And so that sound became part of the fabric. That became part of the book. That became part of the foundation and structure for music up till now and beyond, I'm sure. So they laid a lot of foundations musically. You know, everybody, one thing I did see and learn is that I don't care where you from, everybody got to come F with the D on that music tip. Whatever soul or whatever piece to the puzzle in this big pool of artistic expression, you have to come and get that puzzle piece from Detroit as well. You have to. And I just feel blessed to be a part of it, to have been able to be in those spaces and places to help develop me and give me that resolve as a musician. Because even though I might not have looked for stardom per se, I did like being in a good joint jam session, and just playing off the top. That's one thing that learning up under those musicians, those jazz masters, they taught you how to improvise and just get up there and go. That was what we were taught. You don't shriek or hide in the corner. You sit up front and be like, I'm gonna get on them, I'm gonna get on that, and be ready. And even if you mess up, you stick with it. You don't tell on yourself. That's what Mr. Rogers would say. He would say, don't tell on yourself. If you mess up, they don't know that. They don't read this music. They're not playing what you playing. So you don't tell on yourself. If you messed up, you don't let them know, oh, I gotta start over. No. You keep at it and you make the mistake part of the music.
That's and also
it's so funny you say that, because I saw this Herbie Hancock interview recently from the 90s where he was talking about this session where Miles Davis asked him to play for him, and he was already floored because Miles Davis chose him, but then he messed up and Miles made his mistake a part of the song, and Herbie was like beating himself up about it for like a minute, to the point that he stopped playing, but then Miles made it work and he was just in amazement. And
Yeah.
he's taken that lesson throughout life. You just got to make it work.
You got to make it work because you're really not making a mistake. You know, the mistake you think you're making could be the very thing that saves the world, or, you know what I'm saying, keeps someone alive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah,
have to
and
savor.
also too, the whole institution of the Festival of the Arts was, you know, the brainchild, like you said, of Kim Weston, who is of the Motown pantheon. You know, she sang with Marvin Gaye and others, and she brought the machine of the Motown way of doing things, which became the way the world, the whole music business took from what Berry Gordy created, and she brought that to us, and so we learned with all the folks who made all the Motown music, and we learned how that machine runs, and all of us today have that very specific training from those same people who created Motown. That's a very important legacy, that, you know, for me, I really value in all my festival relationships, like you and others. You know, those are like my closest relationships in life. You know, we did a lot together. We would rehearse, we would have fun, but then we also went to school together, and, you know, we have a lot of similarity, and in common. And I know, I've told Brittany countless times how much, you know, I admire you and look up to you and appreciate you, and I'm a fan. And, you know, Brittany is just like, oh, when I talk to Aisha, I want to hear about this or that, you know. So there's like a whole nother generation, you know, learning about, you know, your greatness, you know. So I'm excited for this as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited that I still want to play the drums. You know, you see a lot of times people give up, you know, but you also see people ride it till the wheels fall off till they die. Like I want to die with drumsticks in my hand, you know, because it just means that much to you, you know. My father was very supportive. He wouldn't interrupt me. He would just come downstairs in the basement and look at me while I'm playing, and he'll shake his head. He'll shake his head, yep, and he'll go back upstairs. But he would let me know that you own something, kid. So I would get, you know, I got a lot of support. I did have a cutoff time. You got to practice before 8 o'clock, before the Cosby Show come on. Because my siblings, when I would be longer, they'd be like, the Cosby Show, wow. And man, I had to stop. But I just made up my mind that this is one of the things that makes me so happy. And what I would like to say to you all as younger people, younger individuals, young adults, if you love something, you better stick to that thing, because it very well may be your therapy. You know, I've had traumas that I haven't been able to really get any therapy, even when I reached out. Not for real, no therapy for real. And it's like, you know what? This is therapy. This makes me happy. And it helps me find that happy place and get into that good space again, because now I'm finding reasons to be thankful. And being thankful and grateful is another way to call success and prosperity to you. Now I'm happy that my hands work and I got my fingers work, you know, they still made well. So I'm finding ways to be grateful, to bring me out of whatever state I was in that wasn't making me feel so good. When I do what I love and do things that I love, like I also love making a nice meal for my children, and they say, thank you, mama. They be like, yes, she did that thing in that kitchen on them biscuits. And they are appreciative. And they express that, you know, that makes me feel good to be intentional. I guess that would be a good way to say it. Being more intentional and being intentional about expressing my talents. This project is helping me to be more intentional about expressing my talents and being grateful for the talents that have been given to me.
Mm-hmm. And you also, in addition to being, a drummer, you're also a percussionist,
Yes.
and about these different percussion instruments. Can you speak a bit more about